Hey guys, today we are doing the same stuff as previously with the fine accoutrements soap that is Santal Absolut. Going to be using the Nacet of old and the razor that I'm using with it currently, the Fatip Piccolo Special Edition, and cut myself earlier, so we might be giving the wound a good cleaning today. And then here's something new. I just got it in. It's a Vulfix Silvertip brush. It's got a little bit of clumping there. I don't think the tips have been treated, and so I think it's doing that naturally. Normally with a finest badger brush, you'll have it'll be treated with bleach or some type of agent like that, and so the tips will clump. It's very floppy. See how it stays over like that? That may be my chief complaint against it. But let's use it. I've always wanted to try a Vulfix brush. The word is that they're made by Simpsons. I don't really want... I've tried a Simpsons Best before. It wasn't very soft in the tips. Backbone was perfect, but the tips just weren't very soft, and so I didn't enjoy them nearly as much as just a whole host of other Silvertips. In fact, I just put a web page up on my site, sugardaddyshaves.com. If you are like me and you like the 3-band, the Silvertip type brushes that have really soft tips and easy splay, then I've got a list on there now for you. I think if you just go to that website, sugardaddyshaves.com, and on the left side it'll be there. Maybe it says soft brush knots. I'm not exactly sure what I called it. And so it'll list some of the good ones that I really enjoy, some of the ones that I enjoy but not quite as much as this group up here. So this is like the chosen ones, and then here's the second string, and then at the very bottom there are some 2-bands that I still find enjoyable to use with easy splay, and of course those have really soft tips because they've been treated, like the Macedo 2-band 24mm that I have, for instance. Let's see, the blade, 300 shaves have been annotated on the little envelope, and today, little mini milestone, today is 340 shaves with it. So we've gotten it out here, and here's the part that will go up toward the top cap, and then I don't always recommend not flipping your blades. I personally, this is the only blade that I don't flip. And I flip in just a random way. I don't care. And that's something that I think I've proven with this blade, is that if I can shave 340 times without flipping it, then you're not really going to extend the life if you do flip it, right? At least not for me. But I put the little dots toward the handle. Feel I'm doing everything crippled without my pointer finger, so I need to be careful. Check the alignment. Okay, one of the ends is just a little, and that fixed it. Okay. Also something today, I recently finally went to the post office and picked up a few packages. The brush that we're using today was one of those packages, and in another one was this. I got a mystery box, and so I get to unwrap some surprises. And a really cool thing, if you see my channel very much, you know I've got tons of soaps, but I don't think I had a single repeat. I did have one or two, but they were just kind of minimal type soaps. But I got like 3 or 4 ones that I hadn't tried yet, and I was interested in, and a couple specifically that I really wanted to try out. One that's been discontinued, so big win, right? Very cool. So I'll be bringing those to you every other shave. I think I'll bring in a new thing because I'm doing usage testing on the soap we're using today, and I want to keep up with that. So like if I do every other, then by the end of the month I'll have 15 uses on the soap, you know. So this is Declaration Grooming Tribute, and this is the post-shave splash that goes with their milk steak base, and so I don't believe it has alcohol in it. or menthol. This is supposed to be an easygoing scent. It's supposed to be a little fruity, I think peach and pineapple, and then a little earthy, patchouli and vetiver, without being dirty. The fruity part, he said fruity without being cloying, and earthy without being dirty was kind of his words on the website. So it smells very wearable. I can definitely pick out the pineapple, probably the peach too if you tell me about it. I might be able to pick out the peach if you didn't. That'll be fun. He said perfect for the last days of summer. So sounds good. We're definitely into fall at this point by now, but you know, I figured it'd be a good one to play around with. All right, so the brush has been soaking long enough. Let me get my face wet. And now we can load some soap. So the Fine Accoutrements puck fits perfectly in there, not moving at all. This is a brush that holds a lot of water. All right, let's do a 25-second load. So we're going to 45 seconds, just in case this guy has a little bit too much flop or lag that it impedes the soap grabbing abilities. That's 10 seconds. 20 seconds is probably fine. Let's just do 20. Looks like it's doing fine. There we go. Get my bowl here. I'm going to catch some of the runoff. And indeed, we can kind of use that a little bit. Did not take a shower before today's shave, so this is the pre-wash right here. Hey, we get a chance to wash my wound. All right. The Thader has a Silvertip that is similar to this, maybe even more floppy. I discovered I didn't really like it that much. I mean, it was good to use. I'd be fine with it if I had to, but I found that I didn't really like it nearly as much as many of my others, even less expensive ones. See, I think the Vulfix, it's not as expensive as Simpson's, but it's still more expensive than like Whipped Dog or Macedo. So we'll find out if I think it's worth more. I know a guy online who had a Simpsons brush and it just fell apart, and they wouldn't help him. They'd said, well, you know, we don't know if it's your fault or not, and you've had it for long enough, and it just totally busted. And so they wouldn't do anything for him. Other people online say the Simpsons has a pretty good, customer service in that regard. And so, maybe that was a one-off kind of bad experience. But I'm mainly staying away from Simpsons just because I really enjoy the brushes that I have. And I can't imagine that Simpsons is going to offer me something better. Significantly better, because indeed the price difference is significant. Now, if I were to find a Super Badger or a grade higher than that in terms of softness on a Simpsons brush on the used market for, a good low price, I might be tempted, but definitely not for retail prices. I think I found somebody online who said that any of their stuff that's under $100 is just not worth it. There are other brushes out there that cost $30 that will beat the under $100 Simpsons brushes. And so the cheaper ones just aren't worth it. And indeed, I tried a Duke. Was it a Duke in Best? Maybe a Duke 2. And the backbone, like I said, was terrific. It was perfect. But it never really got soft for me, even after I soaked it for half an hour. And it was definitely a broken in brush because a friend loaned it to me and let me try it out. And I'm so grateful for that. So this Vulfix came up. I think it's a model 337 or 377. It does say Silvertip Badger. I discovered I like this handle shape. I didn't think I would, but it does allow me to keep my fingers relatively soap free. You see how far away my fingers are from the base of the knot? A lot of brushes will put them really right up close to there, but with this one I'm able to hold back a little bit. So I like that. I discovered this design on that Connaught jade color handle boar brush. Has this Persian jar, you know, kind of handle, and I had always assumed prior to that I wouldn't like that shape, but I was wrong. We have 3 teaspoons of, and I'm glad I stopped loading soap because I definitely have plenty. Let's get a good consistent mix now. I just added some water, so let's work it in there, get it all consistent, and we might be at a good stopping point. Hydration level. Got some cool samples I'm interested in bringing to you guys. It's a good looking lather. See the way it falls apart there? Let's go with that. So let's see how the Vulfix does. And let me get my face wet. Oh, and I'm going to have to tilt you up anyway, so let's just pause you. All right. I think that it's probably going to be nice and comfy. We'll just see how the tips feel. It splays very easily, almost too easily. Let's just see how it all works here. It's not super soft. Definitely, I'm feeling the fibers, almost wiry or kind of rope-like. Small ropes, of course, but definitely not as soft as all those nice 3-bands that I've mentioned, like Whipped Dog, Macedo, Kent, that nice Zenith P10 that I've been using lately. Even the Frank shaving. It's very, yeah, this is a very floppy brush. This is not going to be for somebody who wants some backbone. See, look, it's easily, you know, it's staying open like that. I might keep it around. Well, look at that. Looks like I still needed to add a little bit of water. But that's all right. We'll just go with it. One of the things we can do is you can wipe off the sides of your brush and back into the lather bowl so that now you can kind of keep going. Otherwise, it's going to fly off onto in the sink or somewhere else. Plenty of lather in the goatee or near it. I'm sorry, I can't help but add a little bit of water to this guy. I'm getting old. You know how I can tell? I've seen some daytime TV and I'm really enjoying it. I like the old westerns. The Virginian, the rifleman, bonanza, like the old cop shows. Like I'm really enjoying Perry Mason, and that's when I watched when I was a kid. So we've got 4 teaspoons in the lather. I watched Perry Mason when I was a kid in the summers it was on. Emergency, I think I mentioned that one, enjoying that one. Mannix, Canon, I think. Man, lots of, the it's not bad. It is not as soft as some. It is kind of ropey feeling. I can see how some people might really enjoy it, and it is. What I mean is, some people might. This might exactly be what they're looking for. With me, I've just experienced other badgers with softer tips. Also, these are still kind of expensive, and so I'd much rather pay $45, $48 for a 3-band Macedo brush, or put together my own from. Oh, and I forgot, I didn't even mention before, the Golden Nib, terrific with their 3 bands. Elite Razor, just terrific. All those are going to be, most of those are going to be less than, I think, this Silvertip from Vulfix. So for me, I might stay away from this guy unless I got a good deal on it. And even so, I'm going to use it some, but since it's kind of so ropey feeling and there's just not very much backbone, even I like a little bit of backbone. It needs to kind of hold those tips toward my face, but still let it splay easily instead of just kind of staying splayed all the time. That's my preference. All right. 340 uses. And truthfully, I can't remember what time I shaved yesterday, so I don't know if this is a 24-hour shave or one where it's an extra several hours because of when I shaved. A little bit of tugging, not too bad. There we go, just kind of a quick pass and now a rinse. I can definitely feel a good bit of stubble, but that's okay. So this lather is a little drier than I might normally like. Definitely could have gone further with the water. And we can definitely see that 20 seconds of loading was plenty. And so as I'm usage testing, I think it's going to be very evident that I need to look at the number of passes and not number of uses. And that'll give me a more accurate, because if I ended up making 6 passes of lather each time, and I really want to get an idea of how many 3 to 4 pass, shaves it'll give me, then I need to look at and divide out the passes, not just the total number of shaves. Cross grain. And this is cross grain for me. It may look like north to south, but it's got a slight tilt to it, and my hair goes sideways right here. So kind of from north to south right here is really more of a cross grain for me. North-south does mean up and down, but cross grain does not always mean sideways. Often, especially on the neck. North and south could be a cross grain pattern. I think it's fairly common for most guys to have north-south be the way the grain grows on your cheeks. Good shave. Do another pass in a second. Let me rinse. So it looks like I am not going to be all that much of a Vulfix fan, in favor of favoring it over other brushes. That's okay. I think it's great that there is a brush out there like this, because some people might be wanting. And indeed, I'd be happy with this if I was stuck on a desert island. It sure would be better than something with too much backbone, I tell you that. Tips are soft enough, it's comfortable. Definitely not scratchy or anything like that. Just kind of feels a little ropey. And who knows, what if I use it for 30, 40 times? I mean, maybe it could change just a little bit. Some of the reading I did on Vulfix versus Simpson, I just happened to yesterday stumble on a post online, and they were saying that they think that the Vulfix are not as dense as the Simpson brushes. That could very well be true. And now let me make sure I don't have the bent part as I do this kind of careful area in a different direction right there. And there we go. Full rinse and take a look at everything. Went out and voted last night. I thought I'd be able to go anywhere, but apparently on election day you have to vote only at your assigned polling place. So I did my civic duty. Also wanted to be able to tell my kids, hey, I voted. I try to make a difference. I want to make my voice heard in our government process. That'd be a good example for them. And so I drove 2 hours last night to take care of that. A little bit of a shadow, but good. Comfortable, no tenderness or anything like that. Now let's hit it up with a tribute. We'll just see what happens with the election. I got a hold of some mango pineapple splash from, I think, Storybook from way back when. This reminds me a lot of that because of the pineapple. Yeah. I like this. Very wearable, enjoyable. It's not cloying because of the fruit. It's not too sweet. I don't smell a whole lot of the dirty, so that's kind of an accent at this point, but that could also be something that unfolds a little bit more later on. Plenty of soap left. 3 passes probably, so I definitely can reduce the load time. For this brush at least, it had no problem picking up the lather. Tons of lather in this guy. And look how he folds over and just doesn't really bounce back. That's just a trait of this brush. And so you definitely don't want to get this brush if you don't like those kind of attributes. Now just a quick wash, a quick rinse has us looking like that. All right, so yeah, it says Silvertip Badger on the one side, handmade in UK, and then the Vulfix Shaving Brush Company, Old Original on that side. And it looks like 5 teaspoons of water was used in total for 20 seconds of loading. I'm often over on the wet shaving forum on subreddit, on Reddit, and there's another guy over there that Myrna, his name, Myrna is part in there somewhere, and then I think maybe there's a number after that. It kind of seems random to me, and so I don't seem to be able to remember the exact username. He reached 300 shaves on a Persona blade, platinum chrome, I think, like a month ago, and so he is just nipping at my heels, and it looks like he'll be able to finish 365 by the end of the year. So I'm not the only guy doing this. He's trying it out as well. Feel free to jump on R wet shaving, with you do reddit.com/r/wet shaving. If you want to go check out, you don't have to become a member to browse around and look for his stuff. But I think if you go to the shaves of the day, each day has a thread for shaves of the day. I have been kind of remiss in posting kind of on a live basis, but I do go back and post just so all my historical stuff is there. But yeah, check him out too if you're curious. And he is doing something a little different. He is palm stropping, I believe, where on his arm or palm or something, he has taken the. I think he's taken the. I've got it disassembled, that's why I can't show you. But I think he's doing like that, where the head of the razor is like that, and so he's potentially keeping that edge maybe a little better aligned so it can keep on going. And from the descriptions as he's having, even at 300 uses, he's getting more comfortable shaves than I am. So I'm really glad to have that bit of data. Mine are a little bit tuggy. He's saying his are, smooth and enjoyable, that sort of thing. So just wanted to let you know, just in case you're curious. All right. Well, I'm glad I got to try the Vulfix. I will keep it around, hit it again. Sorry to stick my finger in my ear there in front of you. That's kind of I was thinking at the same time as I had an itch in my ear. All right. Very cool. I'm putting stuff away and cleaning up. I just stropped it on a towel, and you still see some clumping. See, it's just not springing back, and that is what that Lather Silvertip was doing. It kind of stays over to one side, and the way the tips look, it almost looks like they're a little bit jelly. That's interesting. Interesting. I wonder if they'll, often with gel knots, you can let them dry, and the little tips will curl a little bit. Hook. That's why some people call them hook knots, or they're hooked. So I can watch these and see if they get crispy and hooked, to see if maybe, but it didn't feel jelly at all. So I don't know. I have a couple of brushes that I've had that have gelled, and you definitely have that soft, almost gooey feeling. And if this didn't have that, it kind of had that ropey, like a bunch of twine was tied together and coming at me. Could it be that these tips have hooked, and then many of them have broken off, and so then that soft feel is not there anymore? I don't know. The handle doesn't look that old. The knot doesn't look that used, so I would guess not. I think I'm starting to smell a little bit more of the vetiver. Maybe the fruitiness is starting to kind of burn off a little bit. I am really glad that his post-shave bottles are coming with no menthol built in. I think sometimes he's sending the little tiny vial of menthol drops, and so you can cool it down to your preference. At least that's what he did with something that I ordered a while back. But you can always get menthol crystals online or drops or something if you want. But yeah, really happy with that. it's very wearable and enjoyable, and I am starting to smell kind of the vetiver and the I guess patchouli. I like it. And I guess we're done. I think I'm done cleaning up. And there we go. Nice comfy shave, close results, and a little mini milestone with 340. I hope that you guys were able to get out and vote if you wanted to do that. Make your kind of your voice be heard. And whoever gets chosen, I hope they help our country to move forward. All right, guys, you take care, and we'll see you next time. This is Sugar Daddy Shaves. Bye.